Oh man. Here we go.
Yes, 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 yes. I'm just being honest, connecting with the Black experience. It is your man, your guy, the most disliked popular guy, Barry Axius, representing Black people are superheroes with the fabulosis, the mamas of mamas, the queens of queens, the goddesses of goddesses, the ruler of civilization.
Oh wow.
Mama Rose, what's going on? Yeah, you are.
Peace and blessings, Brother Barry. How are you? You taking care of yourself?
Hell no.
You gotta take care of yourself. You don't need to Barry Axius. Don't get it twisted.
Oh man, sis, listen, boy, I need to have a force field with all the haters that be coming after me, girl. Holy smokes!
That's how you know you're on your game, though.
Oh, I definitely know, connecting to my dots, you know what I'm saying? It's good, but it's a beautiful thing. I'm animated. I know you got only a few minutes for me today. I don't appreciate that. So y'all, we have hold up. We have an early show and blame it on her. She probably getting on a plane to go save somebody in Louisiana. I saw that you had that Louisiana thing.
I'm going back down there at the end of this month. I'm going back down there.
Okay.
So I'm not going there. But no, this is business up here. Business, no.
Yes.
But everybody's being inspired everywhere. I'm very proud of those young people and the older people that's backing them up down there. They want that statue down. And I just feel like sometimes I think some of us make the assumption that it's easy to stand. But for some people, when you've been a part of a culture where you survive, it's hard to stand up because you have other people thinking they're protecting you by telling you not to stand up because they're afraid. So I want to big up Lake Charles because it ain't easy to stand up when you're in the Bible Belt of the Confederacy.
What'd you just say?
That's in the Bible Belt of the Confederacy.
That's
their
deep.
history. Like they really hold on to that history. And so if you're a Black person and you've been celebrating stuff and you don't even realize the history, the young brother said yesterday, they take pictures in front of that statues all the time. Like as like high school, graduation pictures. And he didn't even understand that part. Of who he was. That's like Jews taking a picture in front of a Hitler statue and not knowing the history of Hitler. You know what I mean? Like he would never do that. So I think we got to really come to some understanding that, man, some of us don't know. We really don't know. So big ups to them for standing up.
Well,
I'm definitely sending my prayers and energy their way.
I think that for me, the conversation, right? And this also proves, right, that we weren't as crazy as people wanted to make us out to be, right? We weren't as radical as people wanted to make us out to be because we were speaking truth to power, right? And speaking truth to power is sometimes speaking when other folks don't necessarily see the problem or when folks are afraid to talk about the problem, but understanding we're identifying the problem. And I've always, as you have, and a lot of other people as well, and give yourselves a pat on the back right now, because when you talk about the statues, the portraits, the buildings named by some of these oppressors, some of these folks that have continued to keep the lineage of racism and white supremacy intact, right? And with racist policies, and it kind of was complicit, right, in all things that were horrific in America. You dig what I'm saying? Shouts out to my king brother. What's up with my family? What's up with my OG, man? What's up with my king? Bless family. So yeah, come on, y'all, get us in here because we ain't got that much time, so we got to get it in. For me, it's a celebration to watch all of these fake idols that should have never ever been honored and celebrated and put out in public. I was talking to MJ, and she was breaking it down to me because she's trying to take down who is her connection. I believe her grandfather in North Carolina that was a racist white guy, right? That they have a statue. She's trying to take that down in North Carolina. It's like a big deal, right? Actually, excuse me. For her grandfather, that's kind of what she wants to do, is take down this racist statue in North Carolina. I guess her grandfather was fighting that fight to break it down. So to watch all of these statues and these portraits be taken. Like she said to me when I talked to her and she was explaining, to her the idea of why it's so important. If you want to keep these folks around, put them in a damn museum so we don't have to see them. You get what I'm saying? We don't need to see the abuser. You don't want them in other. Yeah, exactly. Put them somewhere where the folks that bled, died, and did free labor in this country, and who continue to be massacred in this country during the times a lot of these people held power, regardless of the 1, 2, 3 things they might have done correct. We should not have to look at that. We should not have to even attempt to take a picture, buy it, or whatever. These people are villains in our overall look in America. And for us to continue to utilize them as symbolic gestures of righteousness, it plays into the idea of superiority, right, from the white lens to inferiority from the black lens. And I think when I just heard from one of my brother Merv, that they was taking out, breaking news, they're taking out the Christopher Columbus statue in the Capitol right here. So
take it out.
They should have done that a long time ago. As soon as we started going from Indigenous Day to from Columbus Day, that should have been out of here. But I think that now America has to realize, when you continue to keep residue of your racist history, but then try to tell us currently this is not racism, you cannot have a real argument with folks like ourselves who see it exactly for what it is. And I celebrate it. I salute it. I think all of them, Confederate flags, they should have never, ever been able to stand this long. And that has been a huge mistake when you continue to fight these battles of oppression, when you continue to see these tools that they utilize to keep us not only oppressed, but to have us be in fear of their greatness, or be in fear that we will always be stuck in this position. So for me, good, get them out of here. But again, they need to do a lot more. I'm not happy with just the statues. Take that baby white Jesus up out of here, and we need to start looking up. Yeah, take that baby white Jesus got to go.
Now, Barry, some black people gonna fight you on that. I'm gonna tell you. They white Jesus.
Hey, they fight me on everything else, right? Baby white Jesus got to go, as well as not only baby white Jesus, them slave dollars that we keep spending, right? Yeah. Them slave dollars as we keep spending. They got to get up out of here as well.
Mm-hmm. You're right, Barry. You're absolutely right. Real quick, while we're on that, let's just touch a little bit on Brother Kanye.
Oh, you just saw him. I mean, you texted me, said you voted for him. I mean, you texted me, you said you voted for him.
But I think that Kanye, so let me tell you why I say this. I think that it shows a lot about how we really feel about black people, no matter what state they're in, is that somebody put up a picture and it showed Donald Trump, Biden, and then Kanye. And it talked about all the things that was wrong with all of them, right? I mean, well, like dementia, rapists, blah, blah, blah. But Kanye didn't have none of that, and people were still going by for Biden. And it really says something about who we are as a people, that we would defend a rapist, we would defend a dementia person. Like, we just got to have a white man. And my thing is, no, I wouldn't vote for Kanye West. But my thing is just people's words that they had to say about him, when clearly the facts of the other two people are far worse than Kanye West's rhetoric, to me. One black man pushed in a bill that locked up a whole bunch of brothers in the damn 90s, which is why half of us don't have husbands. So I'm going to keep reminding people of what it was like to live at that time. And I'm talking about Joe Biden. But Negroes, we will fight for our master. I'm going to tell you that. Even in our most conscious state, supposedly, we will be fighting for our white master. Like, we will fight your ass. And so I think we need to look at that. I think Kanye West, as much as he is maybe a little off balance, he ain't no more off balance than the rest of the Negroes. I think he need to make us look at, why do we fight so hard for either one of these two white men? Well, neither one of them is worth a damn.
Oh, I mean, shoot.
And I think we've probably gotten further with this last crazy fool, because I ain't never seen black people under the black president, supposedly, under Obama, under supposedly black Clinton president. Black folks have never made as many strides as we're making right now, because we got an absolute can't stand your ass person in there is making us all get together as black people. Maybe victory don't come with people who like you. Maybe victory come from people who hate your goddamn guts, and now you got to fight like hell to survive together.
Well, I mean, when you look, well, I'm just saying, when you look at our history, and I was looking at, I'm just watching that new Spike Lee movie. I'm just into that right now. You know, my attention span doesn't help me go through the whole 2 hours and a half. So I'm doing it in blocks. I'm doing it in blocks. Brother got a lot going on. So when you looked at how critical, right, the late 60s was, it almost reminded me similar. Not all of the violence that it was in the 60s at that time, but it almost reminded me of what is currently happening, right? And that's why I think some folks got to realize that history repeats itself. Like, this ain't the first time where niggas was rising up. Niggas been rising up. You get what I'm saying? So the reality for me is when I watch that, I see that retrospective of, okay, here's where we were before. I myself look at it like, okay, now currently what we're doing with Kanye, this Biden, with the Trump, I'm gonna call it exactly what it is. It's a distraction tactic, in my opinion, because if Kanye was really serious, right? And I'm going to go from a different angle than you went. If Kanye was very serious about being president, he's said it before, right? In passing, before we all knew the connection. And when he said it the first time, before he really went off as rocker, right? This is before he really went into outer space in a lot of people's opinions. Actually, I remember folks wearing Kanye West for president's shirts because he was still legitimately at that particular time, very favorable. He was very dynamic. Of course, he has a charisma, and he was an outline thinker. So the idea of him saying that wasn't in a sense of him saying it now, this nigga done lost his goddamn mind. Now we're at the stage of Kanye because he's displayed so many irresponsible moments. And one of those irresponsible moments was even trying to connect the idea that slavery for our ancestors, the enslavement, not even slavery, but the enslavement of our ancestors was a choice, and saying it in such a public space and place without having full knowledge and understanding what he was actually saying. Sometimes it's better to say nothing at all if you don't know what you're exactly going to say. I think that kind of pushed the idea of where is this nigga really leading us to? And then his befound love affair with Donald Trump, almost forcing us to like accept the Make America Great hat and his up and down ideas when it came to his love for Donald Trump. It really swung us another way. Even though we know a lot of Negroes in the past embraced Donald Trump, because you can look at every rapper before this dude became president, they had Donald Trump. Like, Donald Trump was inspiration for black people. Don't get it twisted. Don't get it twisted. So I think that part, to me, it makes me look like that this dude is doing something to kind of create that division, create that separation, be a part of, I need to talk about Kanye West. I can't take it seriously. And that's why I have a problem with it. I myself don't believe it's serious. So for us to even talk about it, it's almost like, come on, y'all kidding? Because if you were serious, right, in the moment when you were serious, you should have jumped in the same time as Bloomberg and some other folks who came in the latter part. You're now coming in saying, I am going to go for be president for what? Like, right now, black people need more solutions outside of that.
But he ain't did no paperwork. All I'm saying is, this is all I'm saying. And I definitely, he definitely ain't got no chance in hell. But what I'm saying to you, when I seen that picture of the three candidates, and the other two people were clearly crazy as hell, who have actual history of fucking black people up. Then you have a black man who just talks, and we are basically saying no, no, no to him. But the other two people, you know, possible could be, you know, one is already president, the other one could be. It says something about us as black people by how black people can just say shit, but people who have actually done shit to us, we're not even weighing that. And there's something wrong with us, Barry. There's something wrong with us if we gonna just go by what the brother said. Because Kanye West ain't. I don't know Kanye West. He did nothing to me. He's never governed anything I've ever done. Well, the other two men have. And their track records, and their character is really bad. And we've seen their bad character in action. And we're gonna defend these two white people, rather on whatever side you on, and then look at Kanye West like he crazy. There's something wrong with us.
Well, I think
what he does is that he points out our hypocriticalness as a people. That's what he does for me.
Well, Negroes have been hypocrites, but we're also talking about a Negro hypocrite himself. Kanye West is a hypocrite.
But he ain't he's not hypocritical with history, though. He has done nothing to black people. He gave you Jesus' law.
What he is doing to black people right now, to me, he's confusing us because he's not serious. He's not serious. He's not serious about taking the mantle of being a president for the simple fact that I don't want to see no more Negro entertainers continue to try to use platforms where they never utilized platforms before it got serious to try to continue to confuse us with more. Negroes is already confused enough. What we need is your access and your money and your resources. Everything else, please leave that alone. Let other folks. I'd rather have Mama Rowe go for fucking president. You understand what I'm saying?
I don't want the job. But what I'm saying is, and I wholeheartedly agree with you, Barry. I agree with you in terms of what you're saying about Kanye. But what was very apparent to me, see how precise we are about Kanye West? We're not that way about white people. You have two other men, both who were have rape charges, both who have dementia, which means they can't remember shit or whatever. And we're going to look at all of their fucked up track record. Kanye West is just known for saying shit, not really doing shit, but just saying shit. And we act like he's the Antichrist in our community. We got to check ourselves. That's all I'm saying.
Well, I mean, I
don't really give a damn about him like talking or whatever, because everybody talks. We have a whole gang culture that totally single-handedly killed the black community. But we up here tripping on Kanye West, and all this fool does is give us Jesus walk, some fucked up clothing line, and just says a bunch of outlandish shit. But they ain't never put no brother. They ain't never put black men in prison.
And
they never put a black woman on the holstro.
And some good shoes. And some good shoes.
I don't know.
But here's the thing.
I just feel like we don't know how to ignore black people or just don't say shit at all about
it. That's my thing. Like I said to motherfuckers like this. I don't give a damn about what this nigga does unless he's tugging out some new shoes. I don't care. I don't even care about his albums no more. If he ain't coming out with some new shoes, guess what? I don't care what Kanye talking about. But because we as a people, we're so enchanted by black entertainers, right? In this lifetime, I've never seen nothing like this before. We're obsessed with what they do. We can't just simply say, okay, that nigga go crazy, because I wasn't going to say nothing, but I made my little comment. Only time I want to hear about this nigga if he's coming out with Yeezys. Everybody else wanted to make it a conversation, so we have to talk about it. And I don't even know why you can't
every Negro must lead themselves. We'd definitely be mad at them. We'd be mad as shit at Kanye. If he say every black person have to lead themselves, we'd be like, what are you talking about? What you mean you got to lead up? We would get in an argument about this shit. Because that's almost like you have to be accountable for yourself, and you know that's like a black kryptonite for some of us.
Well, that's again, right? Again, accountability ain't never really been the thing, right? Like, folks want to sit there and pretend that we have not been in these positions before, and now folks are I feel like, embracing, right, their blackness for probably the first time in a long time, or some people ever. Wearing their black gear, speaking black, doing black posts. And when I say black posts, not fearing the backlash when you talk strictly directly black, when you're not trying to make other people feel good, right? I've been saying, you've been saying in some form, shape, of fashion, and being examples of black power. We ain't being examples of black lives. We're being examples of black power, because you and I both know the only issue here, truly in America, it ain't about race, even though it's a good shape, because it connects it. But racism is connected to power. So the real idea that we are constantly fighting against is white supremacy, white people, the dominant folks, whatever you want to call it, the system does not want to let go of their power and their position in this country. That's it. They don't want to do it. Why would they want to do it? Why would they want to all of a sudden let go, divide it equally so they can be left out? Hell nah. If I've been dominating for this long, it's just kind of like in sports. Ain't no champion ever want to give up their championship. They want to keep on winning. They don't give a damn how old it is. They don't give a damn if they feel like another team should win just for the simple fact that team has tried. I am a champion, and you gonna have to beat me to take my title. That's what it's going to have to be. You're going to have to beat me to take my title. I ain't just going to give it to you because you saying, oh, come on, bro. You done had a title for like 12 years, man. Just come on, man. Give me a chance. Take the title from me. So I think that for us in Black America, as we speak right now, as we speaking to our people, for those who are listening, keep talking that black shit because now folks have identified. So people like you and me aren't crazy anymore, right? They may be annoyed that we were right. They may be annoyed that we might be beating them up a little bit for saying, hey, should have followed this a long time ago. But when you're watching statues, portraits, buildings, name changes, and all that, you have to understand, Queen, and I'm going to applaud you. It's the work of people like you and me that have constantly been on the neck of white people to get it right, not being afraid of conversation, not being afraid of confrontation, and not being afraid of our people who didn't want to hear the truth. So I always will stand by that. So we salute all those who have continued to make folks uncomfortable by speaking the uncomfortable truth. Once we all woke up, once we all saw that these things, these lies that we was given in our school, just because it was school don't mean it wasn't lies. Just because she's a teacher doesn't mean that she's teaching, right? Or he's teaching. We had to be the outliners to say, something don't seem right. And that's just to me. I wear size 12. I can't wear a size 11. So I'm not going to put my feet in a size 11 and say I'm comfortable if I'm a size 12. These are just simple things.
Real talk. So what are we going to do about a lot of this violence in our community, Barry?
Well, one thing I would like to say about the violence in our community, I like to give a shout out to our people that marched like soldiers on the birthplace of the KKK, 4th of July. That's another problem with black people. Any Negro that's criticizing that shit, you are part of the problem. You are a part of the issue. Any Negro criticizing anything those black brothers and sisters did from the clubs and other areas that came together and marched damn near, I don't know, they was deeper than 100.
It was like 1,000. They were sitting there.
With big black guns.
And they were all ex-military. They were all ex-military. I mean, they knew what the fuck they was doing.
They was ready to, if it was going to go, then it was going to go down because we must match the same energy with the energy that's given to us. That we shall overcome shit and that turn the other cheek shit and it don't work. The only reason why America has paid attention, not just because of the anger that comes out of our voice, it's because the anger turned into violence on the streets. And when you saw damaged property, when you saw that you had no ability to contain them, when they threw out, thank you, brother, 1,000 strong. When you threw out our black entertainers who we usually calm it down and make us see it different ways, we wasn't listening. Niggas did what the hell they wanted to do. Authorities couldn't stop them. There was no righteous black voice that usually would be able to take us back and be like, you're right. There was no, absolutely none, a preacher that could speak volumes of white baby Jesus to stop it. Negroes did what the hell they needed to do, and they did it in every state, and they did it globally. So that act of power, that act of no longer allowing the oppressor to oppress, and trust me, I wish they could have came a long time ago with that force, but I'm happy they came now. That shows people that not only are black people trained, ready to go if a race war does go down, if it does go down. Like, we don't always have to show everybody every day our strategy. They just gave a little bit of a touch, a little bit of a preview, just in case you white boys who want to always show up in the Capitol with guns, you white boys who want to act like you're going to terrorize black people, we got something for you. That, to me, was the best 4th of July I done had.
Yeah. And I think it also helps with that image. And one of my homegirls pointed this out so great. You know how we always see these images of black people being killed, murdered, or whatever. Imagine seeing an image of black folks standing up for themselves. Imagine who now take your camera out and record that. Like the brother who defended the sister. I sent the video this morning. I guess a white supremacist dude in Louisiana did something and tried to fight a black woman. And the brother not only came to her aid, but beat this dude's ass. Like those are the images that you need to see because that's what's going to help bring the warrior out of you if you have a warrior.
And that's and
seeing us in that position that does something to you.
That's why any given Sunday, I have an opportunity to check some shit besides black kids, whatever. Like just yesterday, white boys was driving down Freeport, right? And they were squirting people with their little squirt guns, little squirt things, squirting people, right? They squirted, and it wasn't squirting African Americans. They were just squirting random people on the street, right? They squirted a white boy. White boy threw all his stuff down. He seemed like he was already having a bad day. And I was just like, squirted somebody else. I said, okay. I busted a U-turn. Mind you, I got other stuff I got to do. Busted a U-turn. I was catching up with these white boys. Come to see that these white boys finally see like somebody's following them. I'm following them for 15 minutes. I'm not letting up pressure. Right behind their ass. They start recording. They start talking and start screaming, hey, this guy's following us and all this stuff. They start getting shook. I finally was able to block them from driving, got in front of them. And I gave them a lesson served. And they're like, why are you following us? Why are you following us? I said, because I'm following your bitch asses because you sitting there squirting people that have nothing to do with anything that you got going on. And that's disrespectful. And I confiscated their little squirt guns. Them little white 20-year-olds, 18-year-old white boys. I confiscated their squirt gun. And I let them know, you never know who's watching you. And now you know how it feels to be followed and to be a target. Now you know how it feels. I said, you didn't like that, huh? You didn't like being chased because you, in your mind, like, what did we do? But you never know who's watching you. And these are the kind of things that we have to do. I stay checking these mother effers because if you don't check these mother effers, they're going to continue to think that it's okay to get out of pocket. So when you see the military force that you saw this past 4th of July, it lets folks know. Don't get too comfortable. And what we've done, and I've always said this, sis, black people have become too comfortable with everything white people do, whether white people are providing for us, jobs, security, food, banking, hospital, or the idea that they're going to give us justice. Well, we'll just let them take care of it, justice, instead of getting our own. And showing up like they show up. Like for when the Black Panthers did that so many years ago, and then they automatically changed the laws in California, right? For us to not think that's not the volume that we got to speak from is ridiculous. Yes, we have to do it a lot of ways. We got to be strategic. We got to go inside and we got to go outside, but we also need to show a little bit of force in a different practice, in a different way. So they just know. I said, I put a post up. I said, a child doesn't know that you're serious until you take off the belt, or doesn't fear you until you take off the belt.
That's so true.
These are our children. But that first time you had fear and you checked yourself, it's not when your parent was yelling at you because you was like, oh shit, that kind of hurt. It's when it was like, okay, motherfucker, let me get this belt off. Let me get this switch. Go get the little stick. Come on, bring it in. That's when you start recognizing shit got real.
Yeah, that's real talk. That's absolutely real talk. I'm live. Sorry, that's my great nephew.
He wanted to be a part of the podcast.
Yeah. No, you're absolutely correct. I just say big ups to those brothers and just so many brothers that we haven't seen.
And sisters
who we haven't seen that really is about that life, as people like to say. I also like to think maybe some gang members may see that and see the admiration and get some political education and be a different kind of military, be a different kind of force in their communities. You see what I'm saying? That's why that image is so powerful.
Yes.
It just may give you the idea that you can be righteous and love your gun. You can be righteous and protect your community and be a force for good in your community.
Yeah. And
that was so powerful.
And I think for too long, sis, we as a Black community have centered in this idea that has polluted our mind, that we don't have the ability to hold our Second Amendment rights in the same way honorably like these white folks do, right? That Negroes want to come to our communities and take out the guns. Now, I do understand there's a lot of illegal guns, and we're going to talk about the violence in our community, right? And it creates that. But my thing is, we've been trainers, right? We talk about preventive measures, right? When you learn about financial literacy at a young age, you learn how to be, as an adult, use your money and utilize that money better. So if you learn at a young age the power and the responsibility of a gun, you then will now understand how it's not only important, but how it's also something that you just don't go around playing with like it's some type of like sword that just, not going to really hurt someone that bad. Right. I think the education of weapons in our community has been lost. And a common idea, I believe, as I'm seeing so many folks go out to gun ranges, is something that we have to do. If we already know they're there, let us start creating platforms and start really, truly embracing some of those people with the guns and show them how to do it in a proper way, proper content. We as Black people cannot be afraid of the gun. We cannot be afraid of military style combat. We cannot be afraid to be gun owners. We have to embrace these things, because at the end of the day, no one's going to protect us but us. So this is, and I shouts out to Kareem. Yeah, that's how we were raised. And I feel like being here in California, we get caught up with this multiculturalism, these ideas of diversity, these ideas that California is such this liberated state. It's far from the truth. It's as racist as all. If not
just like we left the South, so did they.
Yeah, they came down here too, right? As racist as all. And, we have to start embracing the idea of gun ownership as well as other ownerships and be able to understand gun responsibility. So I feel like when we get the gun responsibility and we're not using it amongst ourselves, against ourselves for evil, it makes our community better. I'm not into the buy back guns piece, because we tried that before. It doesn't work. If you want to get the illegal guns, go after the gun pushers. Go after those. See, here's a fun thing. You know who the gun pushers are? And I know I'm not trying to, tag anybody on it, but it's those racist white bikers, right? Mm-hmm. And it's that slick talking Asian dude and a few others. It ain't Black people. It ain't Black people. I'm laughing. You rarely get a Black guy that's really selling, or Black girl that's really selling guns like that. You may get a few, but when they get connected, they're connected with that white boy biker, or that Russian, or that Asian. And these are all facts, y'all. It's real. We don't have the capacity to get these guns in places, that these militarized guns in these places that they do. They have the access. So how the hell, okay, it's like this. If niggas ain't got access for half of the shit we don't have access to, how the hell we got access to guns all of a sudden? We don't. We have to go and deal with other people to get the weapons of mass destruction. But I still believe, in my hearts of heart, change the ideology of how guns are received in our community, because we better have more guns and bullets than we have Bibles in our household at this particular time.
Now look here, Barry. Look here, bruh. Now you're talking that real stuff.
I'm just saying.
Yeah, I also think you gotta have people stop making us feel so afraid of guns.
Yes.
Because every time I see certain preachers, they always talking about gun control, and you're talking to us. You act like we cannot be responsible for having a gun. You act like, oh, we got to stop this killing. No, you got to educate people. No. You know what I mean? And stop acting like Black folks could only hold a gun unless white people get them permission, like in the military.
Yeah.
While everybody else is owning their guns.
Sis, you know what's so funny? That's for saying something right here. Like, let's think if we start strategizing and putting these young kids in like these gun classes, And these kids, because a lot of the times when a Negro want to pop off, it's that adrenaline rush, right? And I want to pop off. Unfortunately, it's usually popping at somebody. And once you get that kill or you get that hit or you become entitled as shooter, you feel that power. You want to keep on doing it. What if we sat there at a young age and put guns in our kids' hands like we did at a young age, put religion on our kids' hands? And our kids get to understand that adrenaline rush and they get that early. And so it's not like this new thing when they get of age, when they become angry with all of the things that life perceives to them, and now they want to kill a Negro. What if we sat there and we taught it early, right? And we taught it early so they could understand the responsibility, again, as I said, and get that rush out of their system. Like, oh, okay, that's how it feels. Yeah, not getting that gun. Like, shoot, man, I'm ready to pop a Negro, because that becomes our bigger issue in our community. The education that we lack from owning a gun and the fear that we have from gun violence altogether creates what we have currently, which is an out of control situation that. A lot of it is it's COVID-19 pressure on steroids, but again, just like the issues that have continued to spread like cancer in our community that have never been resolved, what did you think was going to happen when they started telling you to shelter in place? What did you think was going to happen when they told you, guess what, keep your kids home from school? What did you think was going to happen when they said, hey, you know what, we got to close the business, got to close the job. I don't know, we can't afford you to even have a job. What did they think was going to end up happening? That the same problems that we had wasn't going to accelerate in these communities? Of course. And now you see the after effects of it all. When you look at all the violence, like this past 4th of July weekend, I was terrified to not only see this graphic video that I don't put. I could try not to put these graphic videos on my timeline, but this graphic video of this black man in the Bronx walking his daughter and getting shot on the streets. Like, the video shows the guy pulling up, looking, aiming, and boom, shooting the father, holding the kid and driving off. But this was one of many acts where young kids were either involved. As you know, over here in Sacramento, we just had a vigil for Amari Brown, and the violence that ensued all over. I'm hearing like Philadelphia is up to like 186 murders, and we've only got what 220 some. It's just a crazy number of murders happening from Chicago to LA to just globally, in all these areas that have a lot of black people involved. So to me, what's your feelings on that? Like, what do you? I
want to say this. My first feeling is not to be blaming other people. I just have to be very honest. When we talk about stuff like this, people say, "Oh, it's the police killing." It's we have to come to grips that something has happened in our community. We have to take responsibility for each other. And you cannot get there by just putting the blame on somebody else, because that's not going to bring nobody back. And I think I get so pissed off when I hear people talking about, well, it's they have gun control laws. Well, I think this says something about us as a people and how we see and feel about each other, and that we're going to have to do something a little bit more radical than just complaining. You understand what I'm saying? Because half these people, these are adults too. This is not all just young people out there doing this shit. We got some adults that are so damn immature that they still gangbanging and their asses is 40. They're still teaching other young people about a culture that is a culture of death.
Yeah.
Because the last time I checked, I can't tell you about none of the big time dope dealers and gangbangers. They're not still walking around that I grew up with. They are under the ground, but they ain't walking around. Trust me. So it's like we're going to have to do something a little different, family. We got to do something a little different. I mean, a lot of different. Not even a little. Like, it's got to be a radical change, y'all.
Yeah.
And that means that we got to have all hands on deck, and don't be pointing at nobody unless you pointing at yourself and talking about what you're doing to impact that. Because this is what I do know, Barry. You can really sit up in your house and think you're just doing you and yours, but even yours will be impacted. And then you're in it anyway.
Yep.
So you might as well just report the duty. You might as well just show up and be involved.
Right, like
when you see something going on, you might as well just say something and quit being so goddamn scared of your own children and your own people. Some of us are scared to death, Barry. We're scared to death because some of us, we created these people.
Yeah.
And the fact that we wouldn't recognize them, that we seen stuff happening, we didn't say nothing. You know how many times I've seen videos with shit happening and people are just walking right past people? Like if they don't see this shit.
Yeah. Crazy.
You're a part of the creation of this mess. When you don't say nothing.
Right.
And don't wait for it to happen to you personally before you report the duty. Ain't nothing worse than somebody wanting to make you feel committed to some shit. And they all this time they weren't committed. Then when their kid get killed, now they committed. No, your ass should have been committed. You should have been committed. But that's
no. But I feel like our preventive measures have to be more precise. You know what I'm saying? And I feel like what's happening in our community is we don't do enough checking. And we just had the little vigil for the young man, and I literally saw a young. Like he could be no older than 12. He said he was 14. Little nigga, well, you were 10 or 12. And he's just smoking marijuana and passing it to other folks. I'm like, the other young man he was with, I was like, nah, bruh. I said, you can't be smoking marijuana in front of me like that. We just got done talking about doing some changing and you smoking marijuana. You know what I'm saying? And I think that we don't want the responsibility or we don't want to be hindered with the burden to speak out because we don't know if that's going to offend or how folks are going to react. So when I pull up on the white boys, I pull up on the white boys like I pull up on a little Negro. You know what I'm saying? These behaviors cannot be channeled as being okay. I wish somebody had checked me more times when I was acting mannish. I probably would have gave them hell, but my reflection of my attitude, my behavior would have probably changed something because some of us walk around so angry, and anger does not necessarily have to mean I got to end someone's life. Anger could just be a thing to where it's like, yo, I need some help to channel this anger because I've used my anger for so much good because I utilize that negative energy and I put it into something positive. And I know people are like, well, how the hell you do that? Trust me. A lot of my motivation was based on folks making me angry. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't always people cheering me on. It was folks making me angry. So discussing that is such a deeper topic. I want to make sure because before we get out, because I know we have a short show, unfortunately. Blame her for the show, the short show, y'all. Blame her. I want to talk about this Taylor Blackwell story that has kind of emerged. I know you've been doing a lot of great work campaigning for missing Black girls, as well as the domestic violence and the stories of Black violence on women and young girls that don't get told. As you know, I have my She Could Be My Daughter, a component that came out of the 2016 situation when it was like Black girls were missing, like literally in one specific area and nobody was talking about it, and really focusing on the violence, sex trafficking, and domestic violence at that of Black women here locally and as well nationally. So coming on this story that Trey Songz, the singer, kind of broke when one of Taylor's friends actually, I think she put a post about, all the things that was going on currently because everybody was George Floyd crazy, right? And talking about, well, here's this injustice that's going on over here. Because just to speed it up, Taylor Blackwell, she was a Sierra College student, 19 years old, that was found at a hotel dead. And the family and friends still don't know the cause of it, still don't know who to connect it with. And literally, the SAC PD have kind of let this whole story fall under the cracks without any information, any closure. So to me, when I listen and I talk to the mother who we're now supporting as a community, shouts out to the mom and embracing her and helping her navigate, because this is kind of what the work that I do with so many of my colleagues. We really do what we do for those who don't know. Like, there's so much more shit that happens than seeing Barry on a goddamn camera. Really, the work is done behind the scenes. Sometimes y'all get caught up in what you see, but don't understand it's constant work and constant development. So as we now develop this story to be a story here in Sacramento, it also plays into this unfortunate idea that Black people don't care, but also plays into this similar notion for me that there is not a level of major concern for Black women, especially here in Sacramento. Because I don't know how 4 months the family has no answers. 4 months there's no closure. 4 months we don't know if it was a homicide or an accidental death. 4 months this hotel is still being able to operate. And what we're going to be doing for folks, if you're following She Could Be My Daughter, also go to my page, Mama Rose page. We're going to be doing a call for action, a call for justice at that same hotel that Taylor was found killed at. And we're putting the full court press on it. We're not going to just be focusing on racism and showing up at all these politicians' doorsteps. No, we're showing up at the doorsteps in things that matter in our community, because we can ask communities to clean up their shit, but if our shit ain't clean, God damn it, we're just going to be in the same dirty house with just different freaking dirty occupants. You know what I mean? And I'm not into that shit at all. So, sis, when you hear a story like this, and I don't know if you were aware of it while it was going on.
Christy Ketchum from Our Rightful Place in Sacramento Sister Circle has made me aware of. I know she's been working with the mother as well. Very well familiar with. I think there's so many stories like that. I think the saddest thing is that it's like something horrific has to happen to you before Black people see you or think that you're important. We know that when it comes to Black girls and women, we don't garner as much support. Boy, go sit down. This is my baby. He ready to play. We don't garner as much support because there's a lack of value on Black female life. You know, there really just is. I know that what you're doing is awesome. We need to be doing that on top. I love the way you come up with things that's going to raise the energy, raise the vibration, if you will, on things like this, and bring awareness to it. I also know that Christy Ketchum and Our Rightful Place, the Sacramento Sister Circle, is hosting a Sage the City. And I guess some sisters did this in Mississippi. And it's, you know, if you know anything about Sage, it helps to move out negative energy and bring in positive energy. I do think on all the fronts, Black folks, because here's the truth, Barry, if it's over for Black women, it's over for everybody. Because nobody else can come onto the planet. No, seriously, no one else can come onto the planet. You can have all the sperm in the world. If you do not have a woman who has the wound and has everything else to make that sperm do anything it's going to do. If you don't have that wound, you don't have anything. And life cannot go on. So if somebody's flat out attacking your mama, that means they want your life done over. Zilch. You out of here. And I think that it says a lot about our community that we wait for white people to do something to us so we value ourselves. You know, when stuff happens between us, we act like it's okay because Black people really don't value Black people. Nobody wants to say that because it's like, that sounds silly. Yeah, it sounds silly, but it's truthful. So we know that something is happening with Black girls. We should all be outraged. We should all be down out there instead of camping out at the goddamn DA office. You should be camping out at the police office and saying, we need answers for this Black woman that this happened to. Not because all of a sudden you in love with the sheriff or something like that. No, you should be that concerned. When a Black girl or Black woman is well, if something happens to them, you should be even more outraged because that is the mother of all. If she's gone, there's no more us. Period. That's the end of that. So, Barry, I always commend you. I really do. I really do. Sister Essence is saying something. I'm sorry, Sister Essence. I just seen that. Oh, we right on our time.
I mean, and that's the concerning part. We all were in a trance of not only this COVID, but George Floyd hit, and then here's this family going through this struggle. And usually, and folks know how we get busy out here. You know, Sacramento's unchanged from a long time ago, from where this would have probably got no noise. Nah, the right people knew what was going on. This would have just been a center of attention as well as everything else, because we know how to do more than one thing at a time. But It literally, there was nothing. And I think that the case is easy enough if they are in a place where they're really talking about changing or preventing or solving crime, that these police could have taken care of all of the responsibility of this crime, of this case, if they really cared. Because now it's going to make them look stupid when we start solving and we break the case. It already makes them look dumb that the mom has been doing so much on her own. Now they already know what's happening. Now they already know that the cavalry is here. So they're in trouble. You know what I'm saying? Because it just, again, shows the negligence. Again, shows why we say defund the police. Why are we giving them so much money if they ain't solving no murders? They ain't giving the proper information. Like I said, again, we're not saying abolish them, but we're saying let's now take that money, since you guys don't know how to deal with sensitive homicides or accidental deaths of Black women. Well, let's have another agency do that. Right? Let's do it properly so we can move and navigate in a proper space. So with that, y'all, we're going to send that information. I'll post it up on our feed. Keep adding and liking and sharing Earth Mama Network. We know it's a short show today, but we got some things we got to do. We will see you next Tuesday with an update. Be blessed, family. Queen, you got anything to say? You out of here? Two
points. Just peace and hair grease.
All right, there you go.
Peace, y'all.